back, maybe it's welcome too. The Louie Bellina Show, lunchtime thanks to Rudy's Barbecue, pork loin, barbecue chicken, go get the ribs, moist brisket, whatever. Yeah, hook yourself up with some Rudy's Barbecue. Coming up, Trisha Ford will listen in. Monthly beer recommendations with Ward of Brigadoon Brewery, and the ticket booth will open thanks to Dixie Tire Company. That's all still to come. Do not forget, you can text me anytime about anything. Sure, Aggie football, Aggie basketball, Aggie baseball, Astros, Rangers, more. You can text anytime about anything to 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. I'll see what's up inside the Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox. Texas Mobile One Lube Express, owned by Gabriel Garcia. 979-693-1150. Let's go Aggie football for a little bit. Things I see across, the internet, the nation. The Athletic did something interesting, kind of basic but different. Stock up, stock down. Stock up, stock down. What am I talking about? All of the top 25 teams, their off season. Very simple concept. Stock up, stock down from last year, because the off seasons are done. There will be some transfers in the portal, minor. Spring football, maybe you have 2 practices left or 1 left. Things are done. Stock up, stock down. Are they better or worse than a year ago is what they mean by stock up, stock down. They were harsh. I think of the top 15 teams, only 3 got stock up. Seriously, only 3. Those 3 teams were Georgia, Oklahoma, and some other team that was not the SEC. 3 other teams that were not the SEC. Georgia, Oklahoma, and some non-SEC teams. So does that tell you how strictish, I guess you'd say, they were? Texas A&M got stock down, verdict down. And it's simple. I mean, their explanation is easy to buy. And look, you prove them wrong or don't. But they just said, simply put, the difference from a year ago to this year is that the Aggies lost more high-end talent. Like, they compared it, why did Oklahoma get a stock up and A&M got a stock down? They said A&M lost so much high-end talent. A&M's breaking in a new offensive coordinator. That's it. And they hinted at something. They didn't say it explicitly, but they hinted at something that I do think is a reality of Aggie football. And they don't have a real challenge in the first month till LSU. Arizona State could be, but they're kind of rebuilding-ish a bit at key spots. So probably not. A&M gets a break in the first month that they can adjust a new play caller and adjust to a new O-line. They have a great schedule, I think, in the first month. And then it's at Baton Rouge at the end of the month, and LSU's adjusting to like 47 new players themselves. Do not play LSU in the last month. Hey, it'll be good to play them in the first month. While A&M is adjusting to a new D-line, adjusting to a new O-line, adjusting to a play caller. A&M has a real good first month schedule for that. But back to the Athletic, what they're kind of hinting at, Marcel Reed, going into his 3rd season of starting, should be able to carry the offense while the O-line adjusts, while Holman Wiggins is adjusting. Let me ask you that question. Do you think Marcel Reed can carry for a month? Against opponents, you don't need that much carrying, to be fair. But Marcel Reed is a third-year starter on a college football playoff team, top 10 team in the SEC. That's what you should be. You should be good enough to carry. And how he can do that from a year ago, I say it's simple. I don't know the answer, though. Is he needs to be a 4-quarter quarterback this year, and I thought he was a 3-quarter quarterback a year ago. 4 quarters, not 3. And he can carry. And then, as the kinks get worked out with a first-time play caller and a new O-line putting it together, there'll be no carry once you kind of hit month 2. And then in month 3, they should be prime time. And in month 3, the schedule's brutal. At Oklahoma, into hosting Texas. But you'll be a 100%. You should be, right? As you get better throughout the year. The last game in October is at Tuscaloosa, if I'm remembering right. That stretch, you should be, the phrase, mid-season form, mid-season, right? But Marcel should be good enough to carry in the early, at least I hope so, for the third season of you getting a start. Do you think that's correct? If his evolution this offseason, he should be a 4-quarter quarterback. Anyway, that was the thought I had after looking at that. They don't quite say it get there, but that's what I think the step forward for him is, to be a 4-quarter quarterback. Because people are saying he needs to cut down on turnovers. Well, part of all that, how would he cut being a 4-quarter quarterback? 979-693-1150. One more thing, and this is just real quick. The Athletic has been doing this for like 2 months now. They go to every conference, and it's really interesting if you're kind of maybe a geek on college football. But they took a look, conference by conference. When was the last time a program signed from high school and developed their own quarterback? They defined it as signed him out of high school. He started for at least 1 full year, and then he either went to the NFL or left due to eligibility, right? That is what they mean. So not a transfer, blah, blah, blah. And for A&M, it was Kellen Mond, who is going to be the quarterback for both teams. No, he's not. It's Reggie McNeil for the Legends game, I think, Saturday. Not relevant. But Kellen Mond, so 2017 was the last time A&M, final season 2020, A&M developed their own quarterback. And Marcel's going to be the next. And in my head, do you remember Kellen Mond till his final year? There were questions about his development. People wanted more every year till his final year, which was phenomenal, fantastic. That's what you're hoping Marcel is this year, is Kellen Mond in his final year too. That's what Marcel should be. If you get that, that's everything. That's Final Four college football playoff. If there's not some freaking mystery thing we don't know about that goes horribly wrong, like they missed on all the O linemen, they missed on the D line, some Achilles heel flaw, but that's what you're hoping you get from Marcel this year's, like Mond's final year, the development process. But anyway, the whole thing, like the last time, Oklahoma has been the king of transfer portal quarterbacks, right? Landry Jones, 2008, final season 2012. Last time they developed a quarterback, because they go get Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams. They don't bother developing. I had to, and this is for Lou entertainment purposes only, Auburn. Auburn quarterback play has been wretched for so long. Brandon Cox, class of 2003, final 2007, was the last quarterback that they developed. And remember, the definition was signed out of high school, started for at least 1 year, and only left out of eligibility, graduation. None of this transfer in out thing. You actually developed yourself. Brandon Cox in 2003, final season 2007. I knew it was going to be bad and ugly. Auburn, you did not disappoint me. And that, I think, was the worst of all of them, by the way. So, entertainment, Lou entertains easily, purposes only. NFL draft next week. And I'm a draft junkie. I don't even need the A&M angle. And the A&M angle is insane this year. Could be 11. Could have 3 first-round picks. 1 seems to be the magic number. So Aggie draft drama. Lou loves draft. Don't matter. ESPN had Mel Kiper's 2 rounds. He had 0 Aggies in the first round, but he had all 3, Basantis, Concepcion, and Cassius Howell, all 3 in the second round. First 10 picks, I believe, but all 3 were in the second round. But they did this huge draft packet. Schools that will dominate the draft. A&M is in the 5 teams that they believe: Ohio State, Miami, and then Indiana, Oregon, and Texas A&M are the 5 teams that will dominate the draft. Why Texas A&M? Because they project to have about 11 players drafted. And per ESPN research, Texas A&M has never had more than 10 players taken in a single draft. That happened in 1976. And if you're going to have 11 players involved in the draft, and we know the names. Again, you have KC, Cassius, Basantis, all potential first round. And then Zune, Reed Adams, Onyedum, Regis, all are going to be mid. And we've seen 5 in the first 3. And first 3 rounds are NFL starters in year 1 kind of thing. So, yeah, you see the impact. And then there's 6 more to come after that. A&M is one of the 5 teams that will dominate the draft, according to this. And they used all the ESPN expert to put this packet together. In other, per this ESPN packet, what are the biggest college football? Where will the biggest college football stars go? Cassius Howell. And remember, Mel Kiper says second round, but where will the biggest college football stars go? Number 26, Buffalo Bills, Cassius Howell. And wherever Buffalo picks, Buffalo needs edge rusher help, and they're going to be picking 26, 31 all over the place. Yeah, keep your eye on that spot when you're watching draft night first round. But to see where the biggest, B-I-G-G-E-S-T, biggest, and there's another Aggie. I mean, you see how A&M is marked all over the draft. That excites me. I mean, if you're an Aggie, how does it not? This is not the normal, but Mike Elko has said the goal, how can you tell what, the success? What do you need? He said 10, right? Isn't the magic number he said? This is like 2 years ago. They need 10 players going into the draft every year. That's going to be how you contend in the SEC. So this whole thing, they haven't had 10 since 1976, 11 this year. Isn't this for his plan, his goal? Isn't this supposed to be, it's going to be the start of a trend, right? So A&M will be this relevant every year for many, many years to come. Now, before we take a timeout, because we got a Trisha Ford listen in, sets up Baylor tonight and more. And then our monthly beer recommendations with Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery. He'll join us on the D4 Land Services hotline. If you ever need your land cleared, land excavated, land fixed, go to d4landservices.com, d4landservices.com. Oh, and the ticket booth will open at the end of our hour together here, the end of the Louie Bellina Show, basically on a Wednesday. Listening to win, thanks to Dixie Tire Company. CBSSports.com. They did bold predictions for like every, is it SEC team? Yeah. And they're bold, so they're not supposed to be like, go put money at a casino on it. They're supposed to be a little bit outrageous and thought-provoking for every SEC team. And, okay, Auburn, Alex Golesh will win 8 games. I'd buy that. LSU, the Tigers roll, and then ... late in the season. I absolutely will buy that. Arkansas, snag a big one in Ryan Satterfield's first year. I would sell that. I'll tell you why. He had talent superiority at Memphis. They were always a top recruiter, but that was when they were at the American because they had more money. And he kind of underachieved while still winning games, if that makes sense, because they were supposed to. But like, how many championships did he win there? That was an odd hire by Arkansas. You could tell they were missing out on every target they had. So I'd sell that one. Missouri, Tigers reached the college football playoff. Look, I kind of feel like Missouri is on the exact same trajectory that Ole Miss was. I think Ole Miss had been picked for 3 straight years. Maybe it's for 4 straight years, right? Seriously, to go until eventually they did. So whoever picked Ole Miss to go to the college football playoff probably had a 25% pick because Kiffin running Ole Miss, they were a contender for either 3 or 4 straight years till they eventually did it, but people were picking them for 3 or 4 straight years. So it was like a 33 or 25% pick rate till they got it right with Ole Miss. And that's what Missouri is. They almost made the college football playoff, and this will be year 4. So picking them again, eventually you'll get it right, but you'll be at a 33, 25, or 20% pick rate when one day you get it right. So Missouri reaching the college football playoff, sure, why not? But then if they miss it again by going 9-3, winning the bowl game 10, that's Missouri football. Oklahoma, John Mateer contends for the Heisman. Stop. I'm not going to complete the sentence. Stop. Even when that started in season last year, that was insane to me. Longhorns win the national championship. I would rather hear, and I would buy more stock in Arch for Heisman, if we could start that again, please, before any of the Longhorns win the national championship. Because you know what? They can. They have a talent level roster. We always talk about national championship DNA. They legitimately have national championship DNA. That's a true statement. But could we just go back to Heisman? Maybe they should accomplish some goal before we keep going to the finish line. Maybe they should win the SEC before we start going for these national championship talks. I would rather have Arch for Heisman than national championship. Oh, man. I think it's more likely the Longhorns win the national championship than Mateer contends for the Heisman. And, of course, I leave A&M for last, and it's the late season slide continues in 2026. And they're pretty hardcore about this where, look, they just think A&M reverts back to the mean. 2 years ago, they lost out to go 8-4. Last year, 11-0. They lost out to go 11-2. And they just think, and it's the quote, the feeling here is the Aggies revert to the mean after some close calls in 25, and they're going to end the season with 8 or 9 wins, a record that is, quote, a record that has become synonymous with the Aggies since the end of the Johnny Manziel era. Marcel is fantastic, but he disappeared in those back-to-back losses last fall. And they point out that the schedule this year is brutal. So they pick A&M late season slide continues in 2026. Every team but one loses the last game. Calling A&M a late season slide when you win the first 11 and every team but one loses the last game is kind of tricky and problematic for me. I'm having trouble buying into it because technically they lost the last game and the last two, but they won the first 11. So a late season slide? I don't know if I actually agree with that, where technically, yeah, it's problematic for me. I'm not kidding when I say that either. 2 years ago was a last month. It was a slide. No, that's easy. Last year, one player had his 2 worst games. I don't know it was a slide. Defense had their best 2 games. So, a slide? I'm not sure if I'm on board. When we come back, Aggie softball, Alyssa and Trisha Ford, head coach. This is the Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio. This is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, Wednesday on The Zone.
The Money Machine opens again April 20th. Another chance to win $5,000 from The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show. I'm inside the Charles Schwab studio. You can text 979-693-1150. I know you're listening for a chance to win. The ticket booth's going to be open at end of the show, so that's about 12:50, 12:55, just somewhere in there. And the ticket booth will open thanks to Dixie Tire Company. Time now, our listening Aggie softball head coach Trisha Ford. Baylor tonight. You can hear that game on Willie 1550 AM and at RadioAggieland.com. And then one of the best pitching teams, period, in the SEC, Mississippi State, over the weekend.
Just a great battle, I think, by the Ags this weekend. On the road in an SEC environment. I thought they did a heck of a job. We had some bumps and we kept fighting, and just really, really pleased with what this team is starting to grow into and turn into. we had, just at bats up and down our lineup that made it really hard on a very good Ole Miss pitching staff. And I thought, just did a tremendous job. And Sydney Peters came in and closed the door in a couple of games, just like I said, we just finding ways to win ball games.
A homecoming of sorts for Kelsey. Last year she comes in and really she was invisible until like the last third, fourth of the season, and now she's improved on that. What happened last year? What happened there when she starting those last 8 or 9 games?
Yeah, I just think it, her and I, we were talking actually when we were at Georgia last year. As freshmen, it takes you a while to get it. You look at Maddie Sawney, same thing. This level of ball, you watch it on TV, you watch it growing up, but you don't really understand what it's like to play it every day, in and out, game in and game out. And so I think Kelsey is just getting more and more comfortable in the outfield. Her swing, she's got a really good swing. So I think she's just, putting those pieces together, continuing to, just make punish pitchers at the bottom of the lineup or the middle part of the lineup that I think is really helping us turn over our lineup, and which is leading to us being really successful in the box.
How pleased are you with this team turning into one that is truly grinding out at bats?
Yeah, I think it's something. I had another media opportunity this morning, and it's the same thing. It's like whenever you come and play in this program, for me, whether it be 1 year, 2, 3, whatever that looks like, I want you to leave with the ability to battle the heck out of everything. And I think that's one characteristic that we have taken from program to program, of just being able to be gritty and fight, and for people not to feel comfortable until the last out is being made. And so I think, it's taken us a while to kind of get to this point. And I had talked to KK and a group of players, I believe it was last week, of just, we get along really, really well, but we don't have enough edge to us. And so there were some antics, this past weekend that allowed that piece to kind of get exposed, which was good. And I really enjoyed our response to that.
With them getting with them getting along so well, just what have you seen from, I guess, your offensive group and how they supported this pitching staff? Because there's been bumps along the road, but then also they've also won some games as well this year. Yeah, I think they believe in each other, and they believe in their intentions. And I think that says a lot. When you have relationships both on and off the field, that's where you understand, like, hey, so-and-so is having a hard day, but she's battling her tail off for us, and she's giving us everything she has. You look at the Georgia series, we pitched gems, and then we look at the Ole Miss series and we didn't pitch gems. We had moments of really good and, some tough battles. But at the end of the day, they're starting to understand what having each other's back looks like. And they had a pretty heart-to-heart conversation. I believe it was either right before the Georgia series or right after, of just like, I think we need to address a couple of just like where our heads are at. And I think their ability to have grown-up conversations in tough situations, I think, says a lot about who they are and how much respect they have for each other. And I feel like as a coach, that's like the one piece that's really hard for them to get, because they come to us and their ability to communicate is not the highest. And so to be able to know that, we can have a tough conversation, but know that I'm coming from good intentions, and so does, this person. I think this team understands that. And so I think it starts with, last year and having people on your team like Allie Enright, and then he had Jazz Hill before that. Just people that were able to show them what that looks like and how to have those hard conversations, but knowing that it comes from a good place.
Having won a lot recently, 7 of your last state, I know you as a coach always find a way to keep a chip on your shoulder. Yeah. So just how do you kind of go about going about that right now?
Yeah, I mean, we still haven't played a good ball game. Like, that's what I keep telling them. Like, we haven't put a game where we hit, pitched, and played defense well. And so that's really my challenge to them. And they know it. They, can feel it. they'll tell you that I'm very honest with them. Like, I don't get too high, I probably get a little too low, but I think that what we are chasing isn't always about wins and losses. It's about playing the game and it looks like this. So even in our midweek game, there were some things like, yes, we won, but like X, Y, and Z. And so I want them to enjoy the wins, but I also want them to chase it. And what I mean by that is like how you play the game, your intensity, your ability to execute, because those are what make you successful in life. And it's not like, oh yes, I was able to complete this project. Like, I absolutely gave everything I had, I poured into it, and then that's how leadership comes about. That's how promotions, those types of things come in life. And so that's what I want them to do. I want them to chase it.
What more can you get out? I think you're hitting it about 320 on 4 of the 5 series, and you've hit a lot of homers. You said you haven't complete game. What else has to happen with your batting? Because 3-4 weeks ago you said you weren't talking to KP. Well, I don't think you've been talking to a lot of hitters right now.
Yeah. Well, if you talk to Coach Harger, he can always find things. I think
he's a little like you.
Yeah. That's why we get along well. But I think our first at-bats and our last at-bats are very focused. We've had some lull in the middle of the game, and so that's one area that he's been addressing with them. Our ability to bunt, there's like Paisley has done a tremendous job for us, and very selfless, in that position, but there's been some other areas or other opportunities for us to put bunts down that we didn't. Runners at first and second and pull side ground balls. I could go on and on. Yeah. But I think overall our offense has been tremendous, to be honest. And but we're always going to strive to be better and strive to execute at a higher rate. So I think the biggest thing he's really talking to them about is not just your first and your last or end of game at-bats, the ones kind of in the middle.
Your pitching staff had a little bit of a tougher weekend, but got away with it from 3 games. What's been kind of the message to them, knowing that, hey, we need to pitch better, but we got away with it?
Yeah, I think just continuing to battle. I think we keep saying this, but softball pitching isn't as different as baseball, but yet we keep putting them in the same situation. So kids will, Boyer, for example, threw 144 pitches on Saturday, and then comes back on Sunday and looks very different. Well, yeah, she threw 144 pitches on Saturday, Our pitchers are the same thing, they look really good, day one, and then as the weekend goes, they don't look as good. And it's not a toughness thing. It's really a strike zone is correct, right? And they haven't grown up with the correct strike zone. But also, how do you reinvent yourself against a very offensive, I would say, sport right now? And so you have to keep battling through, and there's not a whole lot of people that want to pitch, like everybody is quick to bliss and that, but nobody really wants to grab the ball and pitch. And so that's kind of my response is until you've been in that circle and you've thrown 100 and some odd pitches, then come talk to me. I think our pitchers are battling their tails off. They know they can be better. I think the biggest thing that they have been able to do is vulnerability. So going to the team and saying hey, I realize that wasn't my best inning, but I'm still battling, I'm still competing, I will get better. And the team going, I know you are, and we're gonna battle for you. I mean, Rourke's response, and I think it was the 6th inning, am I remembering correctly? That was huge, And so what you can't have is the offense who's rolling get mad at the pitchers, right? What they need to do is I'm gonna keep doing my thing, and I'm going to keep working, and pitchers, we're going to figure it out. You guys keep working, and we're going to be okay. And, the thing I told the pitchers is last weekend, you guys were it. We were in 2 one-run ball games and did really, really well. This weekend, not so much. And so it's not like it's been the whole entire, every weekend. It's just we had a bad weekend, and you got to figure out a way. And we did. Peters came in and figured out a way to make a big pitch when we needed, and AK picked a kid off at second base. It's how do we get out of this game? Let's pick a runner off, And so just continuing for them, I've talked about this before, but wrestling to me is one of the most intense sports because it's 1 versus 1, and you're pinned down and you still have to figure out how to get out of this fight. And I feel like that's how the game of softball is just like, okay, like that didn't go so well, but how do I get out of this? And I thought they did a good job of that.
That wraps up our Listen In. A&M softball head coach Trisha Ford talking about everything, anything from Ole Miss to Baylor to Aggie softball. That's our Listen In Aggie softball here on the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. They have free estimates. They also have military and veteran discounts. That's CC Electric. Up next, Alan Ward, Brigadoon Brewery. Louie Bellina Show on the Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show. You know how we do. Don't miss the monthly beer recommendations with Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery.
Come on, let's go.
Join Louie weekdays 11 to 2 on the Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show. I'm going to stick with Wednesday. We're going to head out to the D4 Land Services hotline. It's where a lot of guests join me because they don't live next door to me. So we go out to the D4 Land Services hotline. Join now Alan Ward, Brigadoon Brewery. He's our beer master general. Alan, my brother, how's your universe?
Hey, we're just rocking and rolling, looking good, having fun.
How's the family doing?
Family's doing great. Everybody's doing fantastic. Brew Kitty's hanging around, helping last night, getting ready for the beer show today. Everybody's doing fantastic.
If anyone still is on Facebook, I want you to go to Brigadoon Brewery because Alan, Beer Kitty is like the mascot of Brigadoon Brewery. And Brew Kitty pops up from time to time. And there's this phenomenal photo of Brew Kitty, and it's a cat. That's why the name Kitty's in the title, doing research for our monthly beer recommendations.
Yeah, he helps a lot. Brew Kitty, if you know the story, he was born in the brewery a few years back. He's born in our attic, and then we had end of the season about 3 years ago, we said, you know what, it's going to be really cold this winter. Mama, Miss Linda Ward's take her home. We took him home with us. He lives at the house now, but he helps out. He still investigates everything involved with the brewing. We have boxes coming, investigates everything, make sure everything's okay. And when I do Beer Master General and I do the review and search and build a page, he comes and helps, whether I want it or not.
I like cats and dogs. I don't discriminate between the two, but I still have never known a cat to be helpful. That's not two things that go in the same sentence.
Oh, he holds down boxes. He checks everything out. He checks for environment. He's very helpful. He's trained to do nothing, so he does it very well.
He goes over your beer reviews and he's like, "Are you sure? Are you really sure that's hoppy enough? Are you really sure that was fresh enough? Do you really think 3.8 is the right score?" He just helps you really go. He goes over it with you. Meow.
He does. He is right there. He's involved every step of the way.
So on Facebook, you're Brigadoon Brewery, and people can check out everything you do. And what's the website again?
BrigadoonBrewery.com. So it's a very complicated process.
That's so hard. And if people ever want to check out these monthly beer reviews, whether it's after we talk about them or it's a week from now, because people are like, I'm looking for a great beer. I know Louie and that dude, his beer master general guy, they talk about it all the time. You can find these monthly beer reviews and archived ones too at BrigadoonBrewery.com. BrigadoonBrewery.com. Let's get to it, Alan. The month of April getting close to summertime, and to me, man, a beer in the summer just hits so perfectly. You went to Australia, Salzburg, Australia, the home of the steak, for the first beer review.
Well, let's go to Austria, not Australia. There's a small different continent shift. It's a small continental shift. Wrong airplane, wrong trip. Yes, I did. Stiegel Gold is Stiegel's been a brewery. When Columbus was selling the Ocean Blue in 1492, they said, you go get lost in the Atlantic, we're going to brew beer. They opened up in 1492. The last 120 years, one family's owned them, the Keener family's owned them. So they're brand new to the brewery industry. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea what to do with beer. I was lucky to find Stiegel Gold in the wild at a place in Houston. And, on tap, this is a great Marsden Hello style. It's a light-bodied, sweet malt beer with a hint of citrus and grains, herbal notes to it. This is what a Marsden Hello should be, and it's old-world style. It's 5% alcohol. It's 20 IBUs because the hops don't really matter in German beers. They just got to kind of preserve it. This is a fantastic German-style beer. It goes with any kind of food, and if I could find this consistently on tap or in package, I'd have it at the house in the refrigerator all the time. This is old-world beer flavor, and it is fantastic. You would like it, Louie. I got a 4.5 across the board. It's just a great traditional beer, and I'm glad to see it in the market finally again.
Something I want to throw out there. For people that, when you see the word gold, that tends to be the everyday, all-day drinking beers. So to find one that Alan is putting so high up, This is a beer you can drink and watch football to all day. This is a beer you can put into an any occasion type beer. That's just, it falls into, and it will have the most mass appeal, generally speaking, where I don't like porters. I don't like dark. I don't like hop. A gold falls into that most popular, widest pie chart beer.
Yeah, they've been making this since about 500 years or so. I guess they got the old kinks out by now. 500 years of the same beer being made. Yeah, they get it right. This is a beer you can have anytime. Watching the Aggies on TV, or listening to the radio with them. This is a beer you can have any along the way. It is very non-offensive to anybody. You are totally correct.
Stiegel Gold from Salzburg, Austria. Marzen Hell Style, which when I saw it was a Marzen, you knew you had my attention. And something I want to point out, one of the cool things about going to brigadoonbrewery.com and clicking on these beer reviews is Alan includes a link so that you could see a picture of the beer, but also a link to the brewery. So again, beer nerds, you love beer info, you like exploring, you could check out the brewery, click the link, and you can check out the picture. And that's for every one of the beer reviews he's ever done. And man, yes, I am fascinated by the beer. We moved to a Belgian-style triple, which these are fascinating. To me, I've tried many, and sometimes I'm like, brilliant, awesome, and other times I'm like, help. They're very hit or miss for me. A Belgian-style triple from Blanco, Texas. Didn't expect that coming. Real Ale Brewing, know them well. Devil's Backbone.
Yeah, I got to admit, I kind of picked this one especially because Real Ale is turning 30 this Saturday. If you're in Blanco, go out there, they're celebrating the 30th anniversary, which is a great milestone for anybody. But they made great beer and have great people. So I picked this beer for them. It's a great example of a Texas brewed Belgian-style triple. 8.1% alcohol brings in that triple category. It's 35 IBUs, but here again, once you get above 7-8% that low IBU, you don't taste the hops in it. This is a true Belgian-style triple. And what it is they've taken the Belgian character, you pop this, you crack it open, it foams great foam, a little brown tint to the foam, and you smell, immediately you start pouring, you smell the spice, banana, and the Pilsner moss. It's that aroma smell to it. You get a taste of clove and banana, and I think the Belgian candy taste to it. It's a really good example of this style. I picked this especially because it is the 30th anniversary coming up, and 8.1% alcohol. You don't drink a lot of these at one time probably and function very well. But it's a great celebration beer. It's a good cold weather beer, which are almost out of cold weather to get one now. But if you're in the area of Blanco, go by and celebrate Real Ale with them this weekend. 30 years of craft brewing is fantastic for anybody.
Next up, back to the Louverse, and a brewery I've been to more than once, but a barrel-aged porter, in Austin, Texas, 512 Brewing Company, and it's a double pecan. I love almost all pecan beers, but a double pecan porter whiskey, even though it says wiki, barrel aged.
That's Brew Kitty helping there. He spells a little differently sometimes. That was
Brew Kitty doesn't have enough fingers. It's all paws.
Exactly. So I happen to be gifted this bottle, and it's on the market. It came out in February, so if you're going to look for it, get it now, because this is the 2025 brew released in February 26th. It pours a good mahogany color to it, good tan head. The aromas are dark and chocolate and caramel note. A taste of coconut in there, but no coconut in it, though, because I'm allergic to coconut. I made sure of that. Ripe cherries are present throughout, and it's got a boozy chocolate flavor with a barrel taste to it. Now, this is best served in a stiffer glass. This is an aroma of things you want to drink that this aroma comes off of it. This is a great barrel-aged beer, but in my personal opinion, you're going to go back to 512. Their best beer they do is a pecan porter on nitro, which is, if you ever find that, it is fantastic. You can find this, I got 4.3 overall. It's 9.5% alcohol, 30 IBUs. This is one that's going to go quick. It's in a bottle release. I have not seen it on tap. Maybe at the brewery. I doubt it very seriously. But this is one to try and get now. Look for your stores. I know HB had some in the area. I looked it up online, both in Houston and in AM the area. They have some in the stores, but get it now. One to try to that barrel-aged beers. And maybe you'll get two of them, try one now, and let one age a little longer.
Yeah, I've had the 512 pecan porter on nitro. I've drank the 512 pecan porter for a long time. I think it's just a great beer.
That nitro, it's hard to beat. It's got that nice pecan flavor to it with the malt behind it. But when we put it on nitro, that guy's just mouth becomes a playground of effervescence, and it's just fantastic.
I don't know the history of pecan porters, but I didn't start finding them until I was in the deep South. And maybe Georgia, places like that. And then they made their way to Texas later, in my experiences.
And that's probably true. The thing with pecan porters is you won't find them as large amount of pecans available. And there's not pecans in the north that I know of. But they call them pecans up there, which is just wrong. It's pecans. But in Georgia, they got a great supply of pecans. And in Texas, they got a great supply of pecans. When you have a lot of pecans, extra pecan trees, if you ever have a pecan tree in your house, they produce a lot of pecans. So at some point, you got to do something with all these pecans, and you make pies. And what else you do with it? Well, you add it to the beer. And why not? You got it. It's extra. And it adds any alcohol flavor to it, but it adds that robust flavor and a mild mouthfeel to it. But truly, a pecan porter is nice. On nitro, it's fantastic. And I like pecan pies, too. But, yeah, you won't find these up north because there's not a lot of pecans available.
Up next is an IPA barrel fermented from Holland, Michigan, New Holland Brewing Company from Holland, Michigan, Dragon's Milk Emerald IPA.
Yeah, I got this because the label looked great in the can, and it drew my attention. An Emerald IPA, what is that? First of all, it comes in 11% alcohol. I have no idea what the IBUs are. They don't list it, and you can't taste them. They don't participate. They're in there somewhere, I'm sure, but only the brewer knows what the action is in there. Great packaging, great pouring. It's got great carbonation to it. When you pour it, you smell the vanilla. You taste grapefruit and orange, like a vanilla dreamsicle, ending with a boozy little dry note at the end. A little thin on the malt taste. I would like to see more maltiness personally, but it's got a great barrel finish to it. I gave it a 4 overall. It's on standard. It tastes great. But the thing on this one is that you're looking at about $5.56 for a single and $17.04 for a 4-pack, which 11% alcohol, man, that's what the new trend is. Maybe a one and done for me because of the cost, and it doesn't stand out. But, if you can see one and get a can of it, try it. It's a good one to share with somebody. A 16-ounce pouring, 2 8-ounce pours per person will be a fantastic amount to share with somebody.
I will try any beer once. That's why we have what's called sampler size. But it seems like, I'm not an IPA guy. But it has one flavor too many.
Yeah, it does. But I would tell you the vanilla overpowers everything. You don't taste the IPA in there. That's one of the disappointments I thought in there. The hop flavor, it disappears. The vanilla notes overtake it, and the barrel notes overtake it. This is aged inside a barrel. So it's fermented in a barrel. So the barrel, not only the barrel, they have the vanilla flavor in the barrel. You really don't taste a lot of hops in it. That's probably why I would have said it's one and done for me. I want more hop flavor. You might actually like this IPA because it doesn't taste like an IPA. Vanilla. Yeah, it tastes like a vanilla barrel-aged beer. That's what it tastes like, with little orange notes to it.
I could probably try it then. And finally, the last April monthly beer review with Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery, and I laughed at a supercharged, supercharged juicy IPA from Fort Collins, Colorado, New Belgium Brewing, Voodoo Ranger G-Force.
Yeah, this is a beer I've been looking forward to because the best-selling beer in the market right now, and in gas stations and convenience stores, believe it or not, is Voodoo Ranger in a 19.2 can. So you have 11% alcohol beer being sold in a gas station and a convenience store cold to go in a state you can't drink and drive. Well, that's interesting. But we're going to leave that there for somebody else to look at. I looked for this, and I contacted my friends in New Belgium and said, it's coming. And finally, I saw it. I had to get it. I got it. I looked at the cans. It's supercharged juicy IPA. So maybe they lied to me. Maybe they did. I poured it. And right immediately, I poured it. And I knew I made a mistake because I don't like juicies, number one. I hate juicy through gum. And when you pour it, I slapped in the face with the juice, and I drank it. And you know what? It's a juice bomb went off my mouth. It's like just full of juice, and it's just, I don't know. I'm not a juicy fan favorite. It's a 2-row malt wheat with Cascade, Lotus, Satra, and Sapporo hops, which I'm not a big fan of Sapporo hops. But for science, I went ahead and graded this on the scale you do it on the brewing scale. It's 3.8 overall. It's a good made beer, and if you like and you love juicy IPAs, they are truthful. Not only the snozberries in this beer, they are participated. All of the snozberries are in this. The snozberry pool. So it's supercharged IPA. It is juicy. It is there. If you like it, this is for you. I'm glad I have one. I didn't finish it.
Fair enough. So if you are into juicy and you're ready to be supercharged juicy, go for it. Otherwise, back off.
This is not your beer, Louie, but I'll tell you what, if you like juicy IPAs, try it. Here's the thing about beers and anything in the world. I'm not afraid to try something I don't like and judge it based on what it should be. Don't judge it upon, I hate this. It's terrible. I hate juicy. I don't like it. Well, you knew it was juicy and you bought it. And it says juicy on there. I didn't lie. It says super juicy, in fact. So I knew going into this when I got it, and probably not for me, but approaching the open mind, you might find something you like. For example, the Emerald IPA we talked about a while ago, Louie, you may actually like that because there's no hop taste to it. It's vanilla and barrel.
And I like vanilla.
Like
and I like vanilla.
And there you go. So give things a try. And I'll say for science, that's my motto. I will try anything but once for science if it's not going to kill me or permanent. Then I'll think about either one of those things.
If it's not going to harm you in any way is effectively what you're saying.
Exactly. And even then I might try it if I joined the military. That was harmful.
Check out the monthly beer recommendations at brigadoonbrewery.com. It says April beer review. Kind of can't mess it up. Check out the monthly beer recommendations at brigadoonbrewery.com. April beer reviews. Alan, be awesome. Thank you always. Dude, love hooking up, visiting with you. I'll see you down the road, brother. Be awesome.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Be good, man. Alan Ward on the D4 Land Services hotline. If you need forestry, mulching, pond construction, metal buildings, visit d4landservices.com. If you're looking for a metal building, like a custom metal building from the ground up, visit d4landservices.com.
Your home for Aggie baseball is the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.